Odin is the son of Bor, the husband of Frigga, the father of Hela and Thor, Loki's adoptive father. He has some brothers but died in the battle to protect Asgard. When Bor died, he became king of Asgard. Odin has the power to outstrip most other Asgardians. Odin's strength is even stronger than Hela's. He can defeat and detain Hela in Hell. Odin's powers defeated Surtur and took Surtur's eternal flame. Odin's immortal powers make him the strongest Asgardian and one of the strongest in the 9 realms in the universe. Odin Force is a power that allows Odin to create and use magical and cosmic energies. His power allows him to easily strip Thor of all his strength. He is also one of 2 Asgardians who can use dark magic to allow him to easily exploit the esoteric energy that summons Bifrost to transport others across the universe without using the rainbow bridge. Odin also has the ability to place eternal spells on items, as he did to Mjolnir when he threw Thor to Earth, while before he could summon Mjolnir from Thor to his hands and use it to unleash a powerful beam of gold that destroys the rest of Thor's armor and blows him through the Bifrost bridge to Earth. Odin can create powerful explosions that allow him to destroy millions of frost giants and dark elves with ease. He had a mental connection with the destroyer through the Earth, allowing him to remotely control it and use its senses to sense what was going on around him. He can also use Odin Force to capture Hela in Hell and lock him to life with him. His powers also allow him to overcome death and survive as a soul, allowing Thor to see and communicate with him after his death and his body dispersing into energy. With such a powerful energy, Odin needs Odin Sleep to charge it. While in Odin Sleep, Odin is fully aware of his surroundings and what is happening throughout the universe, from Asgard to Midgard. Odin's time in Odin Sleep changes over time. Odin can be injured like any other Asgardian, but his metabolism allows him to quickly regenerate damaged body tissue at a higher speed and efficiency than a normal human. However, he cannot redevelop the lost parts. Odin has a Gungnir spear weapon. It is a powerful spear used by the Asgard rulers and serves as a symbol of Asgardian power. It takes energy from Odin Force. He defeated Surtur, took the eternal flame from Muspelheim and sealed it in his vault. He, along with his first daughter Hela, conquered the 9 realms. However, Odin realizes Hela's ambition is too great and her power is out of control. Odin decides that Hela must stop. So Odin and Hela fought each other. Odin finally wins. However, Odin realizes he cannot kill Hela because she is part of Ragnarok's prophecy and only Surtur is able to kill her with the eternal flame. Not wanting to destroy Asgard to kill Hela but could not let her go free, Odin has no choice but to detain her in Hell and to make sure she cannot be released. Odin connects his life with the lock on Hela's prison, meaning that Hela will escape when Odin dies. For thousands of years Odin has ruled Asgard very well. But when the burden of the ruling was too great, he married Frigga to ease the burden. When Hela tries to escape the prison, Odin sends the Valkyries to stop Hela. When Odin realizes that Valkyrie was defeated and killed by Hela, Odin has personally entered Hell and again to fight Hela. He finally won Hela and freed her. However, he did not know the Valkyries' leader Brunhild was still alive after the battle with Hela. To make sure that Hela's influence on the 9 realms was forgotten, Odin removed her from history and created another fresco in his palace. After that, Odin chose to rely only on peace to bring a new stability and order in the 9 realms. Odin's efforts brought about a period of stability for Asgard, which he later called Great Beginning. Odin and Frigga finally have a child together, which is Thor. With the birth of Thor, Odin feels that someday he will pass on his throne to a worthy successor. In 965 AD, King Laufey of Midlands invaded Midgard to bring man and the planet into the new Ice Age to replace their dying world. Odin led his Asgardian army against Loki and his mob of giants during the Asgard-Jotunheim War. In the Battle of Tonsberg, Odin lost one of his eyes. But in the end, the Asgardians fought against the Frost Giants. Odin defeats Loki in the only battle on the top of a temple in Jotunheim. In order to survive, Loki agreed with a peace treaty between Asgard and Jotunheim that would last for more than 1,000 years. After the battle, Odin's forces captured the casket of ancient winters from one of Loki's temples to ensure that the Frost Giants can never attack any other world. While exploring the depth of the temple, Odin also discovers Loki's son. Loki nearly died of his evil father because of his small size compared to a frost giant. Odin and Frigga had a child, but they adopted Loki. Odin uses magic to change Loki's appearance to the Asgardian and says Loki is an Asgardian. Odin believes that a giant frost who lives as a prince of Asgard can help bring about a permanent peace. Odin regards both Thor and Loki as brothers, trying to never allow Loki to feel any difference from his brother or Loki to know he is the frost giant. He taught them about Asgard's reign, the history of Asgard's great wars, and other lessons of maintaining peace if they were king. Odin answered their questions cheerfully and showed them great love and care. Loki showed Odin that he would be a worthy king. However, Odin has long since decided that Thor will be his heir, though he still tells Loki what is needed to become king. As they grow older, Odin gives Thor the mighty Mjolnir to use as his weapon, while Frigga teaches magic to Loki, giving them their own power to protect the 9 realms. Many years later, Odin decided it was time for him to retire and take Thor to the throne. In Hall of Asgard, Odin prepares to crown Thor as he watches his son confidently walk through the crowd cheering with Mjolnir, while Frigga stands beside Odin with Loki, Lady Sif and the Warriors 3. All of whom watched Thor's confident look. Odin ordered the Asgardia crowd to silence as he greeted Thor and explained his duty to be king and protect the 9 realms, asking Thor if he could protect all of them throughout the galaxy. While Odin is speaking, the Frost Giants arrive at Asgard in an attempt to retrieve the casket of ancient winters from Odin's cellar. Feeling the attack, Odin launches the destroyer and it quickly destroys all the Frost Giants. Odin, Thor and Loki go to Odin's tomb and find the remains of the Frost Giants and Einherjar guards. Thor asks Odin to go to Jotunheim to take revenge on the attack. However, Odin emphasized that peace with Loki was still valid and that the attack was not a war action but rather an act by some of the Frost Giant rebels who failed, and that they would continue to act. Their peace treaty with Jotunheim is still valid. Seeing Thor's wrath and his ways of fighting, Odin decides not to take Thor to his throne for fear of his uncontrollable anger, which would cause another battle with Jotunheim, causing his death. Thousands of people on the 9 realms. Despite Odin's obvious orders, Thor is still angry by this attack. And with his friends Lady Sif, Warriors 3 and Loki, he arrives at Jotunheim to personally confront King Loki and the Frost Giants to find the answer. He's looking for the attack when Odin receives a warning about his son's actions by a guard at Einherjar. He rushes to Heimdall and uses the Bifrost Bridge to rescue Thor and Thor's friends from Jotunheim riding on his 8-legged horse, Sleipnir. He quickly finds them in the midst of a fierce battle with a Jotunheim beast and an entire army of Frost Giants, though Thor suggests they together defeat the Frost Giants. Odin furiously orders his son to be silent. Loki declared war between Asgard and Jotunheim. Odin has no choice but to accept. Loki tries to stab Odin in the back, but Odin uses Gungnir to throw Loki away and escapes with his allies. Returned to Asgard, Odin ordered Lady Sif and the Warriors 3 to take Fandral to the healing room to heal the wounds of the battle. Angry at what has happened and now begins, Odin scolds Thor for his pride and stupidity as he begins a new war against one of his greatest enemies. He told Thor that he was not worthy of the title and his family. Thor shouted that his father was nothing more than an old man and a fool for not acting against Loki. Odin decides that the only chance for peace is the deportation of his son. He then deprived Thor of his powers and deported Thor to Earth for his arrogance. He put a curse on Mjolnir as the only person worthy to use it and get the power of Thor. Then he sent Mjolnir to Earth. Loki sees his hand turn blue when he is in Jotunheim, decides to find out by breaking into Odin's cellar and touching the casket of ancient winters. When Loki touches, his brother turns blue. Odin discovers and tells Loki that he not only steals casket but also takes Loki's son Loki back. When he receives this news, Loki asks for Odin's reasons for the deception, saying that he wants to achieve a permanent peace between Asgard and Jotunheim by having Loki rule the world of the Frost Giants. Loki was upset by his own parents and claimed that Odin might never have loved him the way he loved Thor and would never give him the throne. Overwhelmed by Loki's angry accusations, Odin falls to Odin's sleep. While Odin is asleep, Loki reigns. Frigga spends most of her time sitting by the bed, waiting for Odin to wake up. While living on Earth, Thor proved to be worthy and regained his power when fighting the Destroyer when Loki plans to destroy Jotunheim by allowing Loki to enter Asgard and stop Loki from stabbing Odin. Sleeping to Loki is the savior of Odin. The brothers fight when Loki attempts to destroy Jotunheim while Thor tries to stop such a genocide and eventually causes the destruction of the Bifrost Bridge. As they fall off the bridge, Odin, awakened from his Odin sleep by the dangers that his son is in, grabs Thor's right before he falls into the black hole below. As they hang on the edge of the world, Loki desperately tries to explain to Odin that he has done everything for his beloved family. Odin cannot accept Loki's ideal and says no to Loki. Loki was very sad, dropping his hand to fall into the abyss. While Thor yells in painful pain, Odin looks helpless when his adopted son falls to his supposed death. Odin then says that the Frost Giants are being destroyed. With the menacing Frost Giant now over, Asgard then had a big party to commemorate the end of the war and the return of Thor. However, Odin did not attend. Instead, he looked at the 9 realms, grieving over his lost son. Thor comes over and says that he now understands why he was expelled and that he still has a lot to learn. Odin told Thor that Thor made him very proud and that he would become a good leader someday. Frigga discovers that Loki is still alive and he plans to conquer Earth. Odin sends Thor to catch Loki. Thor returns to Asgard with Loki and Tesseract. Although Loki tried to justify his actions on Earth claiming that it was to become king, Odin told Loki that he would be spared only for the love of Frigga for him. Odin later caught Loki in eternal jail inside the Asgardian dungeons. About a year after the Avengers won, marauders still robbed the people of the 9 realms and Odin had to send Thor leading the Asgard army against them. In the final battle on Vanaheim, Thor along with Lady Sif and the Warriors 3 defeated Marauder and forced them to surrender. When Thor returned from the Battle of Vanaheim, they discussed the newly secured peace in the 9 realms when Odin thanked his son for everything he had done. Odin then talks about his love for Jane Foster and asks Thor to love an Asgardian rather than a human. Knowing that Thor will not hear, Odin suggests that he will at least try to enjoy his victory over the Marauders by joining Fandral and Volstagg to celebrate the Asgardian bar while drinking drinks with him. Asgard. When Thor takes Jane Foster to Asgard, Odin rushes into the room as Ira is carrying out tests for a strange disease that has occurred to Foster and asks her to return to Midgard. However, upon discovering that Foster was carrying ether in her veins, Odin decided to protect her in the Asgardian palace. Odin gave Thor and Foster a view of Yggdrasil's book and explained the history of the Dark Elf, an extinct race of creatures for thousands of years since Odin's father, King Bor, defeated them in the first battle of Svartalheim. First, Odin, however, knows that when the ether is found, the Dark Elf army, headed by Malekith the Accursed, returns to find their way back to the strongest weapon once again. When the Dark Elves attack Asgard by sending in their Dark Elf heroes to attack Asgard's defenses, Odin leads an army to suppress the Asgardian insurgency led by Curse. On the way, he meets Frigga and Jane Foster, who assures Frigga that he will live. When Odin, Lady Sif, and their Einherjar soldiers return to the room, they discover that the Dark Elf has successfully invaded the palace and killed dozens of Asgardians and destroyed Odin's own throne by black hole grenade. When Odin sends a Dark Elf to flee with a powerful explosion from the earth, Odin realizes that the Dark Elves are likely to attack Frigga in order to reach Foster and steal Ether. Odin quickly comes to the aid, but it's too late. Frigga's beloved wife was killed by Malekith and Curse while protecting Foster with her magic. Upon seeing his wife dead, Odin knelt down and embraced his beloved wife. Odin arranges for a ritual funeral for Frigga and the soldiers who died in the attack. Odin wears a full black suit and monitors the ceremony where his wife's body is placed on a ship and turns into a sparkling fog like the stars in the universe. Odin, silent in the ceremony, silently mourns his beloved wife. Asgard's inhabitants, including Heimdall and Lady Sif, pay homage to the queen and the soldiers. Wanted to destroy the Dark Elf once and for all, Odin met with Fandral and Volstagg to say that they were not protected for this threat. Thor interrupts the meeting and tries to persuade his father to let him leave Asgard with Jane Foster and pull Malekith away, but Odin refuses and says that they just wait. Odin is willing to sacrifice every soldier needed to avenge Frigga and defeat Malekith. Thor defied Odin's orders and along with Heimdall, Lady Sif, warriors 3, Foster and Loki escaped Asgard with the intention of using Ether to pull Malekith open and destroy him and Ether. Heimdall then sends Odin and confesses his disobedience. Odin simply instructs his guards to stop Thor by any means, but they are too late and quickly lose him. The mortal fox dies, goes to Asgard and disguises as Odin to rule Asgard and sends Thor to Earth. While taking over Asgard as Odin, Loki uses his father's magic and sends him to Earth at Shady Acres Care Home. Sometime after Odin was left on Earth, his retirement was destroyed and he eventually overcame Loki's magic. Doctor Strange contacted Odin for this time, however, Odin chose to stay on Earth instead of returning to Asgard. When Thor returns to Asgard, he takes Loki to Odin. Upon arriving at Earth, Doctor Strange discovers the Asgardian presence in his city and sends Thor to the New York Sanctum and helps Thor find his father, on condition that Loki leaves Earth afterwards. When Thor finds Odin, Odin is about to die. He says he must take some time to break Loki's spell and Frigga should be proud of Loki. Before dying, Odin stated that Ragnarok would come and he told of Hela's existence and warned Thor and Loki that Hela would be released when he died. Odin tells Thor and Loki that he loves them and Odin dies and goes to Valhalla. However, his soul continues to support Thor from Valhalla. Thor sees the first Odin while fighting the Hulk so he can hit the Hulk. Thor saw his father again when he was defeated by Hela and lost one eye. Upon seeing Odin, Thor hopelessly admits that he cannot defeat Hela without his hammer and that he is not as strong as Odin. Odin asks Thor if he is Thor, the god of hammers, and Odin says that Mjolnir is only a weapon for Thor to use his powers, but in fact Thor is stronger. Odin also said that Asgard was not a place where it was where the Asgardians lived.